Madam President.
Senator from West Virginia.
Madam President, first I want to thank Senator Reid, all of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle for the compassion and the outpouring of love that they've given to our state and have expressed that to me. I want to thank Senator Reid also and my Democratic colleagues for their commitment to the Miners Protection Act. Also to Senator Capito, my colleague, counterpart in the Senate, and she is committed working on that. There's a promise that was made, and basically the miners kept their promise. They've kept us, the country, supplied with energy that's been needed by their hard work. This is mostly the widows who are depending on these pensions. They're modest pensions, but basically they're health care, which they'll get a 90-day notice July 15th if we do nothing. And you just can't do that. We just can't do that to any part of this great country, and especially those who have worked so hard and given so much. So I thank him for that commitment, and I hope my colleagues, all of my colleagues, my Republican and Democrat colleagues, will help me keep this commitment and this promise to our miners. With that being said, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in my state of West Virginia. I came back last night. I was driving home Thursday night. So I was driving. I got caught in Virginia driving on 81, and this deluge of water started, the rains I've never seen before started while I was on 81. And getting into Lexington, and at Lexington, Virginia, then I cross over to 64 to come in. And then from 64, I go through Clifton Forge and Covington. And the river, I've traveled quite a bit that way, and I've never seen water like this. And the river started coming across the road. We were able to get through that. And I was asked what was my first impression coming into West Virginia. I was driving in, and you come into West Virginia on the Greenbrier County side in White Sulphur Springs, and the beautiful Greenbrier is right there as soon as you come into our state. I came in, and the exit that you get off to where you go to the Greenbrier and go into White Sulphur Springs, I looked down, and it was totally underwater. All the stores I used to stop and see people in little filling stations. But the eeriest thing I ever saw in my life is all these cars were underwater and their lights were on. So you know if the lights were on, someone was driving. For the water to come up that quick that you couldn't even turn your car off, you just jumped out or tried to swim out or tried to get out the best you could. That gives you an idea of how fast this water rose. No one's ever seen anything like it. Then I see a trailer, a person's home, floating down the road, the middle of the road. And I'm thinking, what happened? And then I drive on in and get into Charleston. And so as Senator Reid said, 9 inches. We had up to 10 inches of rain in some parts, 9 to 10 inches in this area of southeastern West Virginia that really got hit. All counties got hit pretty good, but really a few of them really got inundated. But if you can imagine 9 to 10 inches of rain happening within a 2 to 6 hour period. 2 to 6 hour period. That'd be almost like turning your hose, all the hoses you have on your house, put them in the house and turn them on full force and let them run for that period of time, see what happens. It's just unbelievable. So things that we saw, first of all, people didn't have insurance because they didn't think they were in the floodplain. Next of all, people couldn't afford the insurance that were in the floodplain. Next of all, most of our state, being the hills that we have, the beautiful mountains that we have, most of the people over the years, last 100, 200 years, have built in the valleys because that's where the river had meandered and kind of cut out the flat, level places. So they're saying, why would they build? I mean, this is where they've always been. But over the years, they've either dredged the rivers, they've done different things, they've built flood walls, we've built dams to hold back in certain areas, which has helped tremendously. So now we have to rethink how we do this. We need the Army Corps of Engineers. We need the state, the federal government. And I want to thank the President Obama, his Chief of Staff, Dennis McDonough. I called Dennis and I said, Dennis, if we've ever needed help, we need it now. And he says, Senator, he says, I can assure you the President's ready to help as quickly as you put your declaration in. Never have we had a declaration signed and turned around. So I thank the President, I thank Dennis and the entire White House staff and the compassion they've had for my state and all of the people in our state as hard as it's been hit. So we got 3 counties with a declaration. That's Nicholas and Kanawha and Greenbrier, which was really hit hard, which is where the Greenbrier Resort is. Those 3 counties are getting immediate relief now. We've got over 500 going to 700 National Guardsmen coming in. But to give you, I flew over the area. I visited all the areas by car on Friday. I flew over on Saturday. I have never seen an entire town, an entire city inundated in water, the entire town. Raynell, West Virginia. There wasn't a dry spot in the town. So everybody got caught. Someone says about the warning. Why wouldn't we did give warning. There's never, if you've lived all your life and your parents and grandparents before you and never have you heard stories about water coming this fast and this quick. Let me give you one example and you can imagine. I went to White Sulphur Springs yesterday, down in the little town where you've seen the pictures on television, the house that was floating on fire. I was there right where it happened. Before I got to that house, I'm walking down and there was a lady that was standing there, and there was foundations of a few homes, but there was no sign of a home anywhere. And she had flowers and a cross, and that's where her husband, who was the grandfather, and but her husband, her daughter, and 2 grandchildren were in the house. They got clear to the attic, and the house left. One of the kids was saved, but one little child, the mother or the daughter of their daughter, the mother and the grandfather were lost in the flood. And she's standing there looking at, what do you say? I mean, there's no words to replace that. So you see these types of tragedies. Then I walk across the bridge, and this gentleman, he came and got me. He says, come on. He said, Joe, I want you to come over and see. I walked up across the bridge where another little, not a large stream, comes out of the mountains, but it had become a raging river, and that's where the forks, and they basically joined. Well, when it happens, sometimes the hydrology will back up and it creates a dam. The water creates a dam of itself. I walk in there and it looked like a bomb had gone off, and there was 3 or 4 homes just completely burning and had exploded. He lived in one of them, and he says when this all hit in the water, he ran as quick as he could with his wife, and he hid up in a cave on the hillside. They thought everybody had gotten out. A lady did get out, and she came back into the home. Well, when the house is shifted, it broke the gas line. And when the gas lines broke, it filled up the homes with natural gas. When the house is shifted, then the power lines broke loose. The sparks from the power line hit the gas and blew up the homes like explosions going off. The woman was in the house. She got caught. She couldn't get back out. She went back in to get something. She went up in the attic. She got burned over 70% of her body, and then she jumped into a tree and hung into a tree for 3 to 4 hours until they rescued her. And I understand she passed away yesterday. We've lost 23 confirmed dead. We thought there was 25 because 2 people got swept away and they reported them missing. They found them alive. So we're at 23, but we still have 5 or 6 or 7 unaccounted for. The tragedy continues, and people are outpouring their love. I want to thank, first of all, FEMA. FEMA is on the job doing an unbelievable. The National Guard, we're going to depend on the Corps of Engineers. It's going to take everything we have to put our state back together where the people can have some infrastructure. Maybe we can change some streams to the point to where they'll move differently and be able to, the water will flow a little differently, hopefully. But this is where you need your federal government. No state. Your state, beautiful state of Iowa, couldn't do it by itself. We can't do it by ourselves. I want to thank FEMA, first responders. I've got Red Cross. We've got everybody in. If people want to know how they can help, I've got some people that says, I don't have any money, but I want to come to your state. We need you. We need volunteers who want to work. We need people who have resources that want to help with their money and donations. If they want to send goods, we need that too. We need everything. People have lost everything. To give you an example, Jim Justice, the owner of the Greenbrier Resort. The Greenbrier is closed indefinitely right now, and this big golf tournament was planned. The Greenbrier Classic has been canceled, and the golf course is pretty much ruined to a certain extent, but they'll come back. So Jim basically has opened up the Greenbrier to anybody that's homeless right now that lost their home. He says, We'll give you a place to stay free. Come to the Greenbrier. We don't have hot water because all their boiler systems, but we have water. So that's what they're able to do, and he's been so gracious to do that. But I would tell people if they can get on my website, manchin.senate.gov, at the front of our website, you'll be able to see anything you want to do, and it'll take you right to a site that you can get in contact with the people that you can help our state. Again, I know the love and compassion that people have, and I've watched people come together. Our little state has always took care of itself. When you ask people if you have a place to stay, they're saying, well, I'm staying with my neighbor up here, or I'm doing this. So that's been fantastic. But the outpouring of love and compassion around the country was unbelievable. And we have a lot of famous West Virginians. Brad Paisley, he's called, and he wants to do a benefit for the state, and that's going to be tremendous. And John Crew, and just so many people, and so many people are stepped up to the plate. But from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to everybody for reaching out. It's not over. I just called home and it's raining again. And now we have flash flood warnings out for the same areas again. But I've talked to the Weather Channel. We're not supposed to get anywhere near. So we'll be able to handle this, we hope. But it just basically stops the cleanup. And it's just devastating to see what's happening. So I say thank you to all of my colleagues, everyone who's sent their sincere, heartfelt, sincere condolences for our state, the people who lost their lives. That's the first and foremost thing. We can replace everything else. We can't replace those dear little kids and the parents and grandparents that we've lost trying to save them, and just unbelievable. So with that, Madam President, I say thank you from the great state of West Virginia. On behalf of my colleague, Senator Capito, and I thank you very much. We've both been on the trail working together and trying to give the relief that we can. And just keep us in your prayers. With that, I notice the absence of a quorum, Madam President.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Alexander.